Hello, welcome to Needing a Meeting. My name is Carol. I will be your host today. Hello, my other's keeper. Hey, Christy, hop on in here. Let's see. I didn't mean to highlight that. Let's see here. Jen Marie. Hi. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, y'all. Hey.
Ah,
How are you
I
doing,
know I'm
Jen?
on make. Oh,
About to say.
I'm still dealing with the C19.
Oh. Oh my
Excuse me.
God. I didn't realize you'd gotten that.
I didn't tell everybody, but I am
Okay.
now. I don't care. My home has a case of the mumps. Actually, no, it just has a case of the disco ball in the skylight.
Ooh.
It's a
Hello,
disco
J9.
ball.
Hi, Miss D. Oh,
Hi, everybody.
so anyway, you were saying, I'm sorry. I don't mean to
No,
interrupt.
don't
I
be
just
sorry.
do.
So do I. So do I. Um, all the time. I'm working on it. But I tell you, when I'm in here with you guys, and I always try to kind of reel it in. Uh, so I've had the COVID. I'm dealing with the emotions and rage and everything about this 12-year-old boy that died within the first
Yes.
24 hours of being at that
Oh my God.
wilderness camp. I have done 2 videos on it so far, though, and
Hmm.
I think with the way that things are breaking, I'm probably going to start doing them every day. I don't
Okay.
care. Today, I felt like doing this to myself, but normally
Good.
I wouldn't even care if I did this. But I'm going to sit here in front of my computer with all of my research and everything, and really get it out there because I am the only live streamer um, TTI survivor that I know of.
Okay.
So
Tell us a little bit. Some people here may not know what you're referring to. I'd love a
okay,
background.
yep, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So the TTI stands for the troubled teen industry. And the troubled teen industry started in the early 80s with Scared Straight, which was Straight Inc. was the name of the company. And they weren't the ones to introduce tough love, but they were the first to what's the word that I would like to use? Um, pervert it, right? Like turn love into something negative. Um, and
So had there been camps like that before? I mean, it seems like there
no,
would have, but okay.
no, it was the early '80s, and I explained again because I had a couple of friends mention, maybe you should give a general overview of what the troubled teen industry is, and it all everything really even a lot of the cults. So everything really goes back to Synanon in the 50s, the first drug rehab, alcohol rehab in Venice Beach, California. I want to
Okay.
say it was 1957 or 1958. And they eventually became a cult, and the guy made everybody shave their heads, and like they had to like unmarry. And, it seems like L. Ron Hubbard took a lot away from this guy because um, they also introduced a thing called the game, which is attack therapy, like verbal attack therapy, um, where I explained it earlier today. So you see, I have makeup on, I did my hair, and I dressed nice today. So I haven't been doing that, right? Because I've been sick for like almost 2 weeks, and they're over. I don't know. It feels like 16 months. I'm not sure. Maybe just a week. um, but so everyone in the room would go, Jen, you're a slut. Are you trying to get the boys' attention? Are you trying to get them in bed? But why do you suddenly
Really?
care about how you look? Oh yeah, oh yeah, every single day. And the reason and the staff also would join in on that. Um, and where I went, they called it the circle because you had a chair in the middle of a room and then a circle of chairs around. So the kids were particularly vicious because, hi, Christy,
Hey, how are you
beautiful,
guys?
but I think I might rival you today. Actually,
You might rival
Kinda-
me.
I'm
In
kind
what
of
way?
stepping up my makeup and hair game.
Oh, I love
Just in
it.
case, I'd love to say that I did it just in case you came on, but I did it for my own live stream earlier today. But
Well, you
so
look
okay, so
beautiful.
you look
Yes, you do.
beautiful. I have a lot I want to talk to you about, Christy, but I'm not going to do it during the meeting. But I want to know all about this Baltimore stuff and everything. But we have a
Oh, we
thing
can
on
talk about
Facebook.
that. We can
Yeah,
talk
I
there's
about
other
that.
stuff I want to talk about that we can't talk about on here, though. One particular, but um, so so what the TTI, the Troubled Teen Industry programs, consist of are RTCs, which are residential treatment programs, which they call, they're the drug rehabs, and then you've got therapeutic boarding schools and wilderness camps.
Now, are they
So
all in the same network of that cult or?
no, so Synanon disbanded. They were forced to disband, and then everything kind of splintered off, and Scientology became Scientology. I mean, really, L. Ron Hubbard is probably one of the least original cult leaders I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
just a scam artist. Um, but no, there were multiple. So it started, like I said, one of the originals was Straight Inc., which was Scared Straight. Everybody that was a kid in the 80s knows what Scared Straight is.
right.
Sometimes they would do Scared Straight programs where they would take kids to county jails and stuff like that, but that wasn't the residential program. Sometimes the residential kids did go to the jails and they, do all that stuff. That happened to me. They took us to Wayne County Jail, and they didn't take us because there were boys and girls. They took us to the men's lockup, and I got grabbed by at least six different guys from their cells. One of them pulled my back straight up to the bars. They hit my head on the bars, and our staff and the COs did nothing.
Did nothing?
Nothing. Nothing.
Oh my.
What the actual
They
hell?
tell them. I've learned that they tell them to do that. They
What?
tell Yep, they tell the inmates to grab at the kids. But
To
why do you think
to
men
scare them
grab?
straight? Is that part of it?
I mean, basically, but what it did to me was make me. I mean, it brought up a lot of my essay that happened before I was released from the programs. I can't actually. I don't think I have a number for how many times as a runaway I experienced essay. But the first time I was four. So all that did, plus I
Oh.
was in a really tough relationship with my dad. He was very physically and emotionally and mentally abusive. And all that did was scare me off of men even more. But I fought back and screamed and stuff, but they just, and then finally, like one of the COs like hit the bars and was like, okay, that's enough. I'm like, what? Because I don't have a drug problem, because I did not have a drug problem when I was sent away. It's all in my channel. I'm not going to waste too much time on that backstory. But you know, the main thing I learned going to drug rehab was how to do drugs, get away with it. That's the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, I believe it.
Luckily, I overdosed at 17, and it made me very drug phobic. So the only
Okay.
thing I ever really did after that, I had 1 year from 20 to 21 where I drank excessively. And then I did have a pill issue for about 5 years back in the aughts. Well, no, in the like 2012 to 2017.
Okay.
But it. So this story is, it's haunting me, right?
Yeah.
And I know the CEO of Unsilenced. Her name is Meg Applegate, and she's a survivor. And she started this advocacy network, and we become friends. And I've only known for 13 months that there was such a thing as the troubled teen industry, right? So I'm I relate a lot to Reese, and I've reached out to Reese about this, but she's so super busy right now. In so much as she got exposed, in Scientology the same time I found out that I heard last podcast on the left, they did a 3-part series on the troubled teen industry. And a friend told me, I'm sorry I didn't text you when I got home last night. I was listening to one of my podcasts and you were talking about the troubled teen industry. And then when she said that in the text, and I said, something just went off in my head. So I went back to old WordPress blogs and I mentioned the term troubled teen, that I was a troubled teen. So when she said troubled teen industry, I was like, what is that? And she explained to me, and I was like, oh my God, where do I find this? Where do I find this? Where do I find this podcast? And I devoured all 3 episodes. And then, that door of repressed memories way back flew open. And it's been flying open with everything that's happened ever since. And
Wow.
something about this boy dying less than 24 hours after he was kidnapped from his bed in the middle of the night in New York, to when they finally decided to say they found him gone at 7:45 a.m. I can't. I haven't slept the full night. I've been having nightmares and night terrors. I feel like my number one mission at this point, aside from self-care, because I am doing that, that's part of what this being with you all does. Like yesterday, I was busy, so I couldn't do it. But it was important to me this weekend to get in here with you all, because I need to like, take the air out a little bit, because
Yeah.
it's really starting to,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's, but the really good thing is that I'm doing exposure on my channel. Meg is working with a great Charlotte news station called WBTV. They've been working on stories about Trails Carolina since 2021. This is my
So
head medicine right here, by the way. It's a little
so there
Dr.
may be people who don't know about the 12-year-old boy or what the it's trails what?
Trails Carolina. There are 4 of them, 3 in North Carolina and 1 in South Carolina. They are troubled teen industry wilderness camps. And on the first night that you're there, you're required to sleep on a mat on the floor of your bunk room in a bivvy, which is really just another word for tent, except for they keep one part up and the other 2 corners down, tied to the bivvy, or tied to the mat, and then they put you in a sleeping bag that has an alarm on the zipper, right? So that first night, and then I can't confirm if it's 2 staff or 3 staff that were in the room, including the boy that died. He was 12 years old. I know his initials. I don't know his name. I'm not sharing any of that information out of respect for his family. But there was 4 other boys in that bunk room between the ages of 10 and 14. Yeah. So this boy, the one staffer that they did speak to, the other one, they can't get a hold of.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's
so,
not suspect at all.
oh no, neither was the way they found him. So let's save that for last. So the one that they did speak to, they said that around midnight, the boy started having a panic attack, and that the staffers stood against the wall. So then they said they checked on him at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. I don't know why I'm doing this, but and then found him at 7:45, cold to the touch. They called 911. We don't know how long after they um No, J9, you're thinking of Hell Camp. That's the documentary that's on Netflix, and I believe I'm going to have to go back and look. I found out today that one of the wilderness camps is closed permanently, so that's a huge celebration for those of us survivors and advocates. Um, it might have been that one that was closed, but no, this is not. This is out of control teens, troubled teens. Like
Yeah.
what that means. Like, so if you're not a little robot that complies to everything and does everything that you're told, which is like 99% of kids are always going to push the boundaries, right?
Mhm.
So, needless to say, so they called 911. The guy told him, told the nine. I have the transcript. I went through it on my channel. The call lasted a minute 30 seconds, and then the staffer hung up. And it took 12 minutes for first responders to get there because it's in the middle of the forest in western North
Yeah.
Carolina. Um, so when they got there, per the search warrant, when they got there, um, this boy, hi Kim, it's so good to
Hello.
see you.
Nice
Good
to
to
see
see you
you.
again.
I haven't gotten to see you before now.
Oh, hi, Jen.
I'm in
No,
my
I've
disco.
looked. You're in your disco room.
No, really.
Ooh,
Okay.
very
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
I can get behind that. That's for sure.
Okay. Now my cat's gonna go crazy, and I hope I don't make anybody nauseous. Um, when the
Sorry, we interrupted your story.
okay, it could bear being interrupted, and this actually looks kind of fun. Um, I so when the EMS got there, I mean the cat's having a good time with it, but I know we might have some headachy people or whatnot or stormy people, so I don't want to. Anyway, when first responders got there, they found him on his back with his arms like this and his knees pointing to the sky, and he had the sorry um the sleeping bag was open, and he had no pants or underwear on. They were over his right shoulder.
Mm.
So anyone explain that? And then when the first responders they rolled it because there was a CPR mask on his face. When they rolled him on his side, he started foaming at the mouth. He couldn't have had anything on him because the goons, we call them the goon squad, the guys that go to houses and take people from their beds in the middle of the night.
God.
When the goons get him, they're there when they're getting ready, and then they had to fly because he went from New York to North Carolina, and and then when you arrive at the program across the board, wilderness, boarding, or treatment, they shake you down. They go through all your stuff. So there's no way this 12-year-old boy, not a troubled teen
Yeah, really.
child, he didn't have anything on him. So if anybody did anything, it was one of the staffers. Because they also, with the other four boys, they were 10 to 14, and if the staffers were watching them, either the staff members made the other kids do something to him, or the staff did. They found him. Obviously, the autopsy results will not come out until toxicology is over. But he had marks on his neck, like restraint marks, because this is
Oh.
the teen industry where physical restraint, like this, or even like that, that's just that's part of their therapy is to physically assault you. Yeah, that's a good.
Mm-mm.
It is bloody diabolical.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's an artery on the face that like goes up to the eye, or a vein or something. I'm not really good with all the anatomy stuff, but there's a vein or something that goes up, and that was popped out. And then he had like bruising around his eyes, and that is a sign of this asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have been can't even say it when it's about me. I've been asphyxiated nearly to death myself once. So
Wow.
Mm.
yeah, probably about 30 seconds from death from my abuser. And
Man.
we've known each other 30 years, since we were 15. So I happen to know that his testicles were very sensitive. So I, with everything I have in me, just need him with right there, and he was
Mhm.
leaning over me, curse, and never looked back. And that was 8 years ago last month.
Wow.
Because
Mm.
we accept the love we think we deserve, and because I suffered through these programs, I believed that I didn't deserve anything because I was used
Oh,
to
for sure.
Yeah. That's the
You
message,
have
isn't
zero
it?
yeah.
self-esteem, don't you?
Huh?
I said
That's
you have zero self-esteem, don't you? In fact, you actually feel like you deserve what you're getting because
right.
that's all the love that you've ever had, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, our fathers are our first loves, right? Well, my
Mhm.
father was my first love, he was my first heartbreak, and he was my first abuser.
Yeah.
But we have a great relationship. The whole thing is that I am a staunch believer in generational trauma.
Mhm.
My father was left before he was 2 years old. My grandparents divorced. My grandfather remarried and had 7 more kids. And the woman he remarried made him choose between his new family and his existing son, even though she married a man with a child.
Oh my.
So my dad treated me like garbage because he didn't have a clue how to be a dad. Not a clue.
Mhm.
So, I hated my dad. I don't use that word anymore, and I don't believe in the idea of it, but it's the only way that I can express my feelings for my dad.
Makes
Um, I,
sense.
Mhm.
I was almost 50 years old when I finally forgave him and started over with him. Told him he could never call me useless again, and he could never make jokes about me in front of me, like degrading.
And
Because
Yeah.
has he complied?
yeah, he messed up one time. Well, he's only messed up once in 6 years. I'm really proud of him. He even started going to therapy.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Yep,
okay.
yep, yep. So I finally have the father that I deserve. I've been waiting a really long time for him. Um, I never stopped loving him, but I couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
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 Um, but I understand both of my parents, were like that.
Mhm.
But this is why I fight, because also there are now 2 female survivors of Trails Carolina who have filed lawsuits against
Good.
them for um, SA.
Good.
My other,
Oh,
my
and not good that it happened to them, but good that they're
Filing
doing
those
something.
suits.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
this shook them so hard, right, that they
Mm.
were like, "Oh, we can't stay silent because another kid's gonna pass," or and the cycle is just gonna go on and on.
Yeah.
It's I'm so proud of them. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of them for speaking out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They tell a little bit of their stories on WBTV, which I played today on my live. I'm not trying to plug my channel. I haven't even said it, but anybody in here that knows it knows it. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just I'm not I'm not out there to get clickbait and you know what I mean. Like I'm on a mission. Like
Yeah.
Carol, you were on a
Yeah.
mission when you did this, and going back
Mhm.
and looking at your old videos I have to tell you how inspired I was by you and your channel. It
Thank you.
wasn't just it wasn't just Tommy. It was you too.
Thank
Because
you.
I took a bit I and I really like Rabbit. I like how she presents her stuff too.
Her true crime stuff. Yeah. I do too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then a little bit of Aaron. So, because Tommy had given me some advice talking about, research content creators that you respect, and you'll learn your cadence and your, and your, how you want it to be. So, you all are like the 4 channels that I research.
Wow.
Mainly you and Tommy going back, and yeah. One of the funny things that I do, and I never even said I was going to do it on purpose. I don't curse on my channel.
I'm not much of a cursor in general.
I allow it. I know that it is a turnoff for a lot of people, but it is also can be a very cathartic thing to do when you're dealing with a tough subject.
For some people, that's really the best way that the biggest emotions can be described, right?
Yeah.
I do it away from the keyboard constantly when I'm mad or whatever. Can I ask J9 a question? How old is your dad, J9? If you don't mind me asking, because I'm curious. He got sent to naughty boy school
and went into the military. He didn't know how to love. Yeah, J9. Hi, Matrix Rabbit.
Hi, everybody. Wow, what a story. My
goodness.
Oh yeah, Christy, I don't think you've really heard about my story.
When was the 12-year-old boy found?
February 3rd at 7:45 a.m.
this year.
Yeah. He arrived in the afternoon. of the 2nd. He refused dinner. He was loud and irate. I apologize, my digestive issues.
He's almost 83 now and has dementia, J9 says.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry for dementia. That's really sorry. Yeah, I had to get my
Sorry.
No. It's fine. It's fine. I think I'm starting to get dementia myself. Actually, I just think that I need to download some of the stuff out of my brain to make space for new things. By the way, I have a little. So I told Tommy yesterday that I have an Easter egg in my background for him, and he thought I meant like a real Easter egg. But it's actually, see that right there?
What am I looking at?
Just above the I Can't Adult Today. This name right here.
Oh, yeah, it's backwards, but yes.
It's Feldman.
Is it Feldman?
This is Feldman. I did that for him and Johnny and Jeremy. Like that stupid little Feldman joke. Because I'm the one of us that actually knows the guy and have known him for quite a long time. We used to be friends. I dated Corey Haim.
Oh,
wow. So I have a question for you.
I'm not braggy and I'm not a name dropper. So that actually just made me feel really nauseous to say out loud. And if Anique is in here, she can suck at me on that because she knows that I can't stand the name drop.
Wow.
I have a question for you, though. Is what Feldman alleges Hollywood has done to him, is it actually true?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, but it seems like there's been a concerted effort to really just shrapnelize his character.
Absolutely,
I don't even know a better way to say it.
Absolutely. I mean, he hasn't done himself
dared
favors,
to speak out,
honestly, But that part. So I can say that all of that was true around the time of his documentary and his speaking out when he was out on the road. People were harassing him. It was not. He's not meant like he's not. I mean, not like he's stable. Who's stable? What's stable?
Well, and how would you be?
Lives in one.
He's not paranoid, right?
He's probably not told the whole thing, and I mean, just even the half that he has told. How would you be?
Mm-hmm. Well, just the fact that he dared to say who's abused, who raped Corey Haim, which I already knew because he told me himself. Just that person alone have so much money and be so powerful that he alone could cause a lot of problems, but the producers, the
Mhm.
agents, no, it's so real.
Mhm.
It's darker than he's even been brave enough to talk about. And he's
Yeah.
been really brave.
Even Justin Bieber in his video Yummy, the whole thing is all of these little children entertaining the adults. And like if you look at it, these children are dressed so sexually and so adult and so, oh, it's creepy when you actually think about it. And then the last scene is his a, a plate with the picture of him as a 13-year-old when he first got on the scene. Like
Yeah,
just I'm getting
they
goosebumps
plucked him.
thinking about it. It just is, oh,
Yeah,
yuck.
they plucked him from YouTube.
And they
Yeah.
did, yeah, in Toronto.
And it's the Atlanta people, Usher, like found
Yeah.
him, and then the Atlanta guys. And I don't know how bad the Atlanta people. I can't speak on Atlanta, Los Angeles, and that I can speak on, but I don't know about
Mhm.
the Atlanta music and entertainment scene. But I
Mhm.
imagine that it's just as bad as anywhere else.
Yeah.
I think the
Mhm.
kids are starting to be treated better in the industry than they were back when we were young, but
Mhm.
It took too
I-
long.
Mhm.
it took way too long, and when all these kids that are entertaining us their whole lives, and then you find out that their lives are just a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it you look at everything a lot different, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
and you look at everybody and on all the, like, a perfect example for me would be River Phoenix.
Mhm.
That kid,
Yeah.
well, he wasn't a kid; he was 23. But when
They were in the Children of God cult.
they were in the Children of God, and
Mhm.
they left because actually demanded that the kids start having sex, and they did. Like River and Rain were
Mm-mm.
the first two, and they were sexually active at like 4 or 5 years old.
I was sexually active at 4, but not by my choice. That's for darn sure.
I was
Yeah.
sexually
That
active at
was.
4, but not by choice too. So I see you, sister.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was just on a video call with a good friend of mine. And I say a good friend of mine because I knew her when she was a little kid. We've only just reconnected in the last few months. But she was assaulted by her mother and both of her brothers from the time she was a baby. And at some
Mm.
point she's going to watch, but on the replay for some reason, just even watching live is too much of a trigger for her. But at some point, I would love to have her come on here and even just interact in the chat. It would be
Yeah.
so good for her to know that there is a group of people who understand, who aren't afraid of the language, who aren't afraid of confronting the issues.
Right.
Her oldest brother, she's the youngest of 3. Her oldest brother actually assaulted me as well. And yeah, and I found out recently that we have the same psychiatrist. So it's kind of funny. So last time I saw my psychiatrist, I'm like, hey there, by the way, I know this person, and her brother assaulted me too. And I said, I know you're not allowed to say anything about her. I know that. That's not a question. I just want you to know for context that I know her situation and she knows mine, and it's just, yeah, my psychiatrist, I love her to bits,
Good.
but
That's great.
I think she just really needed to know more context. Anybody does, right?
Sure.
They need to know
Yeah.
context.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Carol,
Yeah.
I hear roosters in my apartment.
Oh. What can I tell you?
My earbuds in. I love it. I love it. I'm like,
Uh,
so yeah, I needed to come in here and have a meeting and just, I don't even care where the conversation goes. Like, I just
Mhm.
I just want to chat.
I'm
I
glad
got
you.
all that out, and
Yeah.
thank you for listening and being interested in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been haunting me, and I've been sitting here in the
That poor
office.
baby. Oh, that
I
poor baby.
Yeah,
feel about
cosmic,
everything.
100%.
Yeah.
Jen,
Not
how are you
knowing for
Oh, I
so
haven't
long.
seen that.
It's on YouTube. It's free.
She
It's
talks
amazing.
about her own experience in the troubled teen industry
Yep.
situation.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paris Hilton?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
she is not who
wow.
you think she is not who you think she is. I went from I'll say it. I went from hating her to loving her. And she works with
Really?
Unsilenced too. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow.
Thank you,
Okay, I
Cosmic,
will
for bringing that
definitely,
up.
yeah, I will
Yeah,
definitely keep
I'm
that one in my watch list.
yeah, because she also brings some former survivors that she had lived with in the programs, and they all get together and talk about their experiences. It's really,
Sounds
yeah,
powerful.
she's been, what Matrix said, she's been through it. She has been
Hmm.
through it, and I have so much respect for that woman now. It's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
completely different person
It's
than I ever
amazing
thought.
how we judge on the face and what we've been seeing publicly. And then when we
Yeah.
find out the truth, it's like, okay, this is the other way. And they are just beyond amazing people, right?
Hmm.
But the
Yes.
face that we're shown for so many years has been so negative to hide probably what had been
I
going on
have
before.
another, I have another perfect example of that, and that's Eminem.
Mm.
Eminem is probably the most misunderstood person in entertainment. He has
Really?
this outwardly obnoxious, misogynistic, homophobic kind of thing going on. But behind the scenes, he did have a pill problem. He was addicted to pills. He almost
Hmm.
died, but he raised three girls. Only one of
Yeah.
them was his biological child.
Mhm.
The eldest was his ex-wife's twin sister's daughter.
Wow.
And,
Mm.
yep. And then the child that his ex-wife had while they were broke up between their two marriages to each other, he raised them because they're not binary anymore.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so they're trans. Is it trans or non-binary, whichever? But he's a father at the time of three girls.
Mm.
He was and the amount of
Oh, Heather.
under the radar stuff. Ooh,
Wow,
Hmm.
Heather.
ooh.
I am so sorry. That is, oh,
Hmm.
And, you know,
terrible.
a lot of times we don't even, people don't look like the sum of their experiences. You
They
can
don't.
look at somebody and think, oh, whatever, and you'll never know what they're going through or what they've been
They've
through.
been through.
Hmm.
And you never know until you start hearing their stories little by
Mhm.
little, leak out. Um, yeah, I'm, I'm sorry.
What
Wow.
the hell?
There
Wow,
was
Heather.
close to
Sorry,
where
go
I
ahead.
live, there's a small town. And in the 90s, there was a big case where there was a
Did you live in
daycare.
West Memphis, Arkansas? Oh, okay, never mind.
No, not in
Wrong,
Arkansas.
wrong
Uh,
story.
no, this is in Saskatchewan, in Canada. And these children were all being sexually assaulted, not only by the owner's son, but by various people in the community, including lawyers, doctors, police officers, all of these people. And there's a lot of people right now who think it was satanic panic. And I
Mhm.
know for a fact it was true, 100% true,
Wow.
because for two reasons. Number one, I was living in a different city, and a friend of mine went to a party at a lake, and she heard a lawyer talking behind her to his friend. He's like, "Oh, of course a child. Who wouldn't if you had a chance?" You know? And so he admitted it at a party. Then later on, uh, in my 30s, I went to Bible school and I took psychology as one of my courses. And the psychologist who was the prof was a child psychologist, and she was the one who actually took care of those children when it was happening. The reason everybody got off with no charges is because the 3 years between it happening and when the case finally went to court, 3-year-olds don't communicate the same way as a 6-year-old does. They don't have the
Right.
same language. And because they couldn't say it in the same language, everybody, even the court, everybody told them this is all in your head. It didn't happen.
Oh my God.
So years and years and years later, one of the boys was around 21 or so years old, and he recognized this friend of mine. And he said to her, "Do you remember me? I am this person." And she's like, "Oh, wow. Yes, I'm so glad to see you. How are you?" And he told her about all these terrible things in his life, all these terrible life choices he had made, and all of this that would be so 100% in the wheelhouse of somebody who's been assaulted so badly. And she's like, "Wow, I can't believe I actually ran into you. I know some people who could help you." He's like, "Nobody can help me. It's all in my head. What can I say?" She's like, "It is not in your head. I was there and I know it wasn't." 2 or 3 weeks later, he offed himself.
Oh God.
Just like I'm
Oh.
getting goosebumps thinking about this because I know the truth. And so many people deny it. Oh, yuck. Anyway.
Yeah. Heather, 13 years. Is this an anniversary day, or you had 13 years? Anyway, whichever the case may be, we give mama's tiaras when somebody has a milestone. This was my mother's tiara for her.
I don't have a tiara, but I do
right
have
on
bling
her
on my hat.
last birthday at the age of 95. We did it all up. We all wore tiaras, and she wore this, and we had a cake that said 95 years regal, and she lived quite a life.
Perfect.
And so this is mama's tiara, and we use it to celebrate. We don it when we have a celebration of any kind,
And
a milestone of any kind, especially sobriety,
yes.
being
Yep.
clean.
You know, I
love
wanted
it.
to share with you guys. I wrote a few things down because I was reading. You know me, I love books and I love to read, but there were a couple of things that from a couple different books I was reading that I thought might be helpful to us here. One is by Jerry S. Parr, and he was there the day that Reagan got shot and was actually part of the reason that he survived. But he said, life is lived forward, but understood backward. And in the many paths to maturity, the loss of illusion is part of that process. We not only endured, but we prevailed. And I like that because I think
I
that,
love that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think that represents us, all of us as a collective. You know, it's
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he was talking about, you know, the way that they handled the shooting, but you know, I think that was really beautiful. And there's another one I'm reading right now, the 12 um 12 uh 12 life lessons, 12 lessons to success, something like that, by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. One of the things he said was, dreams shed light on the dim places where reason itself has yet to voyage. So I loved that because pay attention to your dreams, um, because they are taking you to the dim places where reason itself has yet to voyage. And it can bring up a lot of things for you to journal on and think on and work through, because it's just, if you're on your healing journey and you're at a place where you're starting to dream about these, they're starting to come into your consciousness. So get a dream journal and write it down, especially if you're working with a therapist. Start talking about your dreams. Don't discount those.
Okay.
All subconscious stuff
Mhm.
that's coming up. And with everything we've been talking about, this could bring some things up for some people. So make sure to journal on how you're feeling on that. And then the last thing, don't look at what fell, what is still standing. So when everything is falling down around you, don't look at everything that's fallen. We can all see what that is. Look around at what is still standing, because that survived the storm. So what's there? Your friendships, your faith, as it however it looks for you, your you know, your mental health, whatever is still standing. So I just wanted to kind of offer those little things of encouragement, because I thought those were good journal prompts, and those were, good things to think on when things are feeling very overwhelming.
Why would
Yeah.
anybody be in cahoots with a sicko to cover something up like that when a 4-year-old is talking about a
they're
horrendous
probably
thing
involved.
happening to them? What in the hell is wrong with people?
It's an evil world. It is. I mean, there are those of us who've been through so much. We're not immune to it, but we are seared, I guess, to the reality, right? But because of the scar underneath, we're also so tender to that reality. And then there are some people who just like, we're done. We don't care what the world thinks. We're just going to do what we want, when we want, why we want. And that was the reality with my dad, right? Money and power. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I can say for the troubled teen industry, that is a $24 billion industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Billion.
You pay these, I would imagine it's tens of thousands of dollars for your kid to be traumatized beyond. Oh my God.
So at Trails, Carolina, for one child, it's $66,000 for 83 days.
Wow. Do the parents know what's going on with their kids? Do they simply not
No.
care, or are they told a lie?
They're
I
told to
can
lie. But
tell
some
you
get stuff out of it.
that it's not presented that way. It's presented as, we will help your child who needs help. This, it is not, because I really would like to believe in my heart that most parents would not knowingly put their child into that type of a situation. Tough love. Maybe there are parents out there who think that tough love is an answer, and it might be for their child, but I personally know people who have looked into things like that who never went through. It was extremely expensive to do, and but it was not presented that way. It was presented as, we will help your child finish school. We will help them, get the help and the counseling that they need.
Mm-hmm.
It was not presented that way.
And to quote Phil Collins, it's all been a pack of lies. Because I was shown a pamphlet of a really beautiful resort with a pool and everything. When I got there, it was a hospital.
Yeah, I saw your
Straight up hospital.
episodes when you were talking about that. It just broke my heart.
Yeah, because it victimized my dad too. He was shown the same thing. He was told the same thing. It's so yeah, I can. And Christy, I'm really glad to hear that your friends looked enough into it to realize that it wasn't a safe thing for their kids. There are alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and or I will say this, that person, I'm going to say this very carefully. When she was told by her parents her choice, which was to give away a lot of things that were really important to her and go do this or straighten her life up. Fortunately for her, she straightened up her life on her own. So
Wow.
it's very fortunate.
Strong.
Because those people could have very easily sent their child there without a second thought to the cost, and would have never known. So it was very good that the parents loved the child, that that they that the daughter said, let's.
Some of them do, Sandy. Indeed.
Breathe a sigh of relief. I mean, I don't get the disconnect on how you could see what they do as a good thing.
Well,
I think the parents maybe. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that one of the sectors of people that they prey on are wealthy families. And wealthy families are quick to get rid of their kids, even if it's not to a troubled teen. They'll send them to boarding school. It's
Well,
wealthy families do have a tendency to do that. Boarding school or whatever, just outside of the home. And then people like myself, whose dad had really good. We weren't wealthy, but my dad had really good insurance because he was a Teamster truck driver.
Right.
And I
I have
think
a friend who's
Yeah.
it can be presented if a parent is at a place with a child that is really going off the rails and doing these things, and they've done everything and they have the ability to provide that for their child, and they think that it is something good.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know that I would maybe look at it as parents just sending their kids away. They could really see it as, I know these people really seen it as, maybe this is the answer. Now, fortunately, when hit with the, you'll give away all of these things, and this is what it should look like. Um, the the child then was like, okay, no, I don't want to do that. But it really was, if somebody's got the means, um, and they think that that's the only way to help because they've done everything else and it hasn't helped. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying please don't think that all of those parents are really horrible parents who just have money and ship their kids off. Some of them really have tried, and some of them have the finances to do this other thing, to what they think has helped their child, and what they're shown is nothing like what you guys have explained.
What really
Oh yeah,
happens? Yeah.
Yeah, so please, I'm not saying, give everybody, but please understand that it is not presented the way that it has.
Right. Of course not. Yeah, they would
Mhm.
never
Right.
get anybody's
No,
kids sent
Oh
there
yeah.
if they
no,
showed what the real thing. But
no.
Yeah.
but I mean, even just the whole, just the grueling bits, that they do know about.
Mhm.
How do you just throw a kid into that? I just,
Well, and
to be
I guess,
completely to be completely fair though, there are kids that actually were helped by these places. So you kind
okay.
of have to take the whole picture. I don't know what the percentage is of kids who actually get no trauma out of it, and I don't know the stats on that.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be digging into that, but I know that there are
Okay.
people, because I've had people argue with me online about, like, it really saved my life or it saved my kid's life or whatever, and I'm like, that's fantastic. I'm not trying to
yeah,
take that away from anybody. But
Okay.
what I am trying to do is shine a light on something that is
oh,
generally really dangerous.
right,
Mhm.
right, right. Well, and it's,
There's
oh,
You look so
25.
beautiful.
awesome.
That's amazing.
So, and I think I mean, it's it's unfortunate. It's just kind of like military. Sometimes I know military has really helped a lot of people. I mean, they came out the other side, man, they had life locked down. And then I know other people who came out the other side and they totally did not. They were fine before they went in, and then some people came out and it was amazing. So
Mhm.
I think it just all, some people need that structure, and you know, and some of it is helpful, but none of this that we've been talking about is good. And I would hope that no parent would knowingly send their child to somewhere like that. My goodness.
Yeah. I was in a group home for a year in the 80s. The staff paid kids to tell on the other kids when we got up to our shenanigans. Well, it just
Mm.
depends on what the staff did about it, is the,
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's 100% true. Some of the staff got excited when you got in trouble. They really
Oh
did. Like,
wow. Yeah.
very sadistic, because then they can
mm,
do the attack therapy, and they love attacking the kids.
that's, uh, I
Did
don't
I?
understand why somebody would take pleasure in the suffering of a child. Anybody, but especially a child.
because they're weaker and they feel weak in themselves. They don't feel like they have enough power in and of themselves. So they have to beat on somebody who's weaker. And I know that's what my dad was like, right? And then my sister was like that too with me. She would beat me up when I got home.
I would
Sorry,
have to
Jen.
agree, Sandy Wendy. There is something inherently traumatic about it,
Mhm.
you know? And it's
It was on this
yeah.
channel where I talked about my dad having been a police officer and a pastor and all of that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. In the just before we went to Bible school, he was sent down to Washington State to look at becoming a staff member at one of those boys' camps. He would have loved that job. He would have
Oh
loved
dear.
it.
Mm, dear.
I
Dear, dear, dear.
immediately in my 20s went and worked in a group home for girls. This was it was a house, but it was court ordered, like lockdown. It wasn't like your family just sent you there. And I went there on purpose for that job because my goal, I'm so sorry. My goal in my 20s was I was going to open my own runaway shelter for teenage girls. And so this was all experience for me. And I from the second that I walked in, those girls could see that I was one of them. They connected with me immediately, and and they were the manager and the staff were all excited about me coming in. When I was talking to them in my interview and everything, and then when they realized that I was connecting with the girls, they got they got mad at me and they ended up firing me for being too close to them. Um, and
But they need that. That's what makes the difference
Absolutely.
so much of the time.
right, like they used to
Somebody
do.
taking the time to connect with them and care
Yep,
about them.
yep, and
Yep.
so on.
Why
On my
would anybody people don't need to act out who have that.
And
I mean, they might act out for whatever reason, but they're not as likely.
right.
and
Well,
these
one of the
people, they
reasons.
sense the BS, right? They know
Oh
who's
yeah,
real and who's not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And so one of the things I got in trouble for is they used to do something with the they used to do a thing with the black girls, which was called soap checks. So at any time any of our black girls took a shower, we had to, like they had to go check, and the shower was right next to the office, and you'd have to go in the bathroom and they'd open the curtain, and then you'd have to look and see that if they were sudsed up. And when they told me that, I was like, I'm sorry, I have to do what? And I was like, yeah, okay. Always saying that I would do it, and I never once did it. I would tell them just to yell check, and then go about their shower. Another practice I got in trouble for not doing is when the girl ran away and the cops brought her back. She comes to the back doors, it's the old farmhouse, and you'd take their belongings and put them down, and you'd bring her in. The cops would leave, you'd shut the door, and you make them strip because the back door is the kitchen and it's right next to the shower, which is right next to the office. So they have to strip, show you everything, and then go in the shower. I didn't do that either because of my experiences. I wouldn't humiliate
Yeah.
the girls like that. And so they fired me, and I was like, well, that's fine, but just know that I know what you people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I gave the girls as much advice and as I could, and my information, and I stayed in contact with 4 of them for several years after that.
Right on.
Yeah.
But it was I know it was re-traumatizing for me, but at the same time, I'm so grateful I did it because while I was there, those girls had a little bit of freedom and a little bit of fun. I'd take them to the mall.
Humanity.
We'd go
Yeah.
running around the mall.
Humanity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Just treating them like they're
Yeah.
just teenage girls, right? Having a
Because
good
Right.
time. We'd have little parties in the house, bake things and do fun, weird stuff that the other staff didn't do with them
mm-hmm.
because I understood them and I got to be the adult I didn't have, and I'm still the adult that
Yeah.
I didn't have. Only I'm stronger now and I know way more than I did when I was 24. All those years ago.
Do you want to come say hi to everybody?
Seven years of abuse before I could get out of there. I'm so sorry, J9. I am sorry. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
I was gonna say hi.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
Good.
I've never met you.
This is my husband, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Michael. I'm
This is-
Jen.
And
I'm Kim.
and Kim.
Do I look like I would?
My brain is as busy as the wall behind me. So
Get my stuff together.
you vagabonds.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, Christy, it's gonna be backwards, but let's see if I can get it.
Ms. D says it's nice to see you, Michael. He's real, LOL.
It's showing backwards. I'll take a picture. Yeah, he does exist. I wasn't sure he existed myself.
I know. Most people are like,
He's
"Who
not
is
like he
this
used to be.
enigma that you have?"
I loved it when you were talking about being a gypsy, because what I was trying to show you is a tattoo on my wrist that says gypsy, because that's what
Yes.
that's what I called myself instead of a runaway. I was like, oh, I'm just a gypsy.
Right.
There you go.
I mean, I do come from Irish travelers, so it's not a lie. I am a gypsy, but I also had a tendency to run away. I ran away from home from 14 to 47. The problem is that everywhere I went, my problems were waiting for me.
Wherever you go, there you are.
Because wherever exactly.
That's what Eddie Van Halen used to say. Wherever you go, there you are.
There you are.
I always thought that was a really funny quote.
Yeah.
Yes. That's true. No, my mom says I'm her most feral child. I didn't start running away until I was married, so I was older, and then was like, yeah, let's pack everything into a suitcase and head off.
Well, because it's easy to follow that impulsive good time, because when life at home feels terrible and you're having fun, who wants to leave the fun, right? So you just stay for the fun and you follow the fun, and then it ends up not being so fun, and then you end up having to go home for a while, and
I'm just thankful I get to explore and see all kinds of cool stuff.
So you're in Maryland. Are you in Metro Baltimore?
Yeah, we're right outside of. Are you familiar with the area at all? So we're pretty close to Glen Burnie and Pasadena. I think I'm like 15 minutes from Pasadena. It's
okay.
We're literally right in the airport because Michael's working at the airport. So we're
I know all the airport initials.
Yeah,
one of my special gifts.
Yes, that's where we are, and I'm learning. The roads are horrendous, but I did yesterday get to go touch really old books, and I was so excited.
I saw that post. How was that?
I was in heaven. Michael looked at me like I had lost my mind, but I was loving it. I got to touch a 14th century encyclopedia type book that had
wow.
the England. I got to touch it and turn the pages, and
Wow.
then I got to touch a first edition, complete works of Shakespeare, and then a third edition.
Wow.
Which a third edition is the most rare because apparently they were trying to say those, put them somewhere, and some flood destroyed most of them. So then I got to one of my favorite authors is Walt Whitman, because I love the Transcendentalists. So Whitman, Emerson, Thoreau, all of them. I got to hold in my hand a first edition autographed book of Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman that he self-published. And then I got to touch. It was a the second edition, and I got to see how much it had changed. And then we got to look at this book that was like 2 feet tall. I'm not even joking. Hummingbird. They had colored in the hummingbirds and like detailed them. But this library was beautiful. I couldn't take pictures in it. They wouldn't let me. I tried. I was even going to break the rules, but the lady wouldn't turn her back and leave. I think she knew I was a rule breaker deep down, so I was like, I couldn't. I was trying to be nice, but yeah. So we got a private tour of the museum, and then we got to look at the private collection of books, and then went out the private entrance. So it was like this whole private thing. It was really
Ooh.
cool. But,
Wow.
Now, did you have to wear gloves to touch the books?
no, I didn't. I thought she was gonna
Wow.
make me put gloves on. The only thing she said was watch the red fingernails. So I didn't get fingernail like scratched. The thing. So I was very
Hey,
convinced.
kids, I'm so sorry.
Wow, I didn't know that you could train a husband like that.
That's my dog.
Well,
It's
same
okay,
thing,
I don't
isn't
have
it?
a husband.
That's,
Yeah, I don't have a husband. I have
and I
cats.
no longer have a dog, so
Dogs and a
Hey,
cat.
Kenneth, I'm sorry about your kid. Oh, my kid is sick in Italy, and I'm a little worried. I think
oh
he just
no.
has the flu, but no COVID test yet. Oh, and all the way over in Italy. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Wow.
I'll tell you that there's that stomach virus that's going around. I have but the stomach virus is gone. But I got hit with COVID and the stomach virus at the same time last week.
Ooh.
So
And you are, wow,
Oh man. Well,
standing.
you guys, I've got to hop off here soon so we can go eat. I've got another live I have to do at 8 this evening. So I didn't know if you wanted to do box breathing and meditation or continue on and I can just hop off, whatever you
You know,
guys.
I would love to do a box breathing and meditation. And then anybody who still needs a meeting, put a 2 in the chat. And if you feel like you've had a meeting, put a 3. Think of a 3 as the heart. I'm good. 2, I still need to dump. Sorry for the crude language, but it is effective.
By the way, that's literally how we came up with that. Like, well, a 2.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to do a meditation thing.
I love
Let's do a light-hearted meditation, shall we?
That sounds, yeah.
Do that? Okay. All right. So for those of you that are new, we do a box breathing. We only do 3 because one time I said we were going to do 5 and I did 3. So apparently I can't count past 3 when it comes to box breathing. So we stop at 3. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale until all of the air is out of your lungs. Taking a good sigh at the end of it. And we'll do that 3 times. And then when we're done with that, we'll go into a little meditation. And when we're all done, whenever you're ready, I'll say open your eyes. And then we'll kind of go from there. So go ahead and get loose, shake it out, roll your shoulders, roll your head around. When you're breathing in, if you've got a personal mantra or something positive you want to say to yourself, feel free to do that. And when you exhale, if you want to exhale any negative thoughts, icky energy, just get it out, do that as well. So go ahead and drop into your heart space, whether that is imagining yourself as a small version of yourself going into your heart and sending in all of the love that you've got. Simply putting your hand over your heart. We're going to go ahead and start our box breathing. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale. And last one. Breathe in. Hold. and exhale. I want you to imagine that you're in a beautifully happy place, whether that's in a meadow full of beautiful mountains, gorgeous flowers and trees, or on an ocean with the sand between your toes, listening to the waves crash. I want you to take a moment and stand with your feet planted firmly on the ground. And imagine that there are little roots growing out of the bottom of your feet down deep into the earth. So going all the way through the soil, down to the hot molten center of the earth. Now I want you to imagine starting at the top of your head. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of that negative energy, those heavy feelings, those heavy thoughts, and we're going to push them down through our body and out through the bottoms of our feet. So go ahead and imagine releasing down to your eyes, down to your mouth, releasing all of the things that you wish you had said, that you could say, down to your shoulders, and down into your heart space, releasing all of those things that no longer serve you or that weigh your heart down, at least just for today. Down to your shoulders, your elbows, down to your belly button, feeling yourself getting lighter, down to your fingertips, to your knees, to your ankles, and down the bottom of your feet. All of that heavy energy, those negative things, those things that no longer serve you, continue to push those down through the roots, down into the hot, molten center of the earth where they are burned up, where they won't come back to bother you, at least for today. And now I want you to pull all of the passion and fiery energy, joy and happiness and love and forgiveness that you can up through the roots, up through the bottoms of your feet, going to replace all that negativity that you just released to your ankles, to your knee, to your belly button, to your elbows, and into your heart space, where all of the fiery passion, confidence, and love, security, and joy fill up the room of your heart, up to your shoulders, to your lips, to your eyes, and out the top of your head. And imagine yourself surrounded in a beautiful bubble, a protective, loving bubble. Take a moment to receive all of the love in each and every one of us is sending to you, and to feel this moment of friendship, connectedness, and safety. And with one final deep breath, when you are ready, open your eyes.
Thank you.
You're
Well, that was
welcome.
perfect.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Well, you guys all have a good night, and I will see you. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow is Michael's Wednesday off. He works 6 days a week, so Sundays I won't be catching up with you, but I will see you guys back on Monday.
Very good.
All right.
Good
Guys,
to see you.
good to
Good to
see
see
you
you
guys.
fun.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jen. Good to see you again, Kim. Thank you for coming on.
Good to see you too. I'll see you later.
Okay. Yay. You guys, this is good stuff. Good to see every one of you, and thank you for what you bring every single time. This is a great place to be, and I love you all, and I hope to see you again next meeting, and until then, peace, y'all.